Having the right armor in Minecraft can make you essentially an invincible god. So, in this guide, I will show you the best armor enchantments that you gotta have to get that perfect Minecraft armor for yourself. Let's get going. First of all, let's talk about the main thing that you even have an armor for, and that would be, of course, protection. In Minecraft, we have 4 different enchantments that can give us protection. This will be the normal protection, blast protection, fire protection, and projectile protection. The normal protection just gives us more damage reduction against all types of damage in the game, even fall damage, which is very welcome. And then blast, fire, and projectile protection, they only give us damage reduction against that respective type of damage, but therefore the damage reduction that they give you is actually higher, as well as 2 nice features on the side, that being that blast protection also reduces the knockback from explosions, and fire protection makes it that you also don't burn as long as you would usually do. Now, what does all of this mean? Well, since you can only have one of these 4 types of protection on the same armor piece, I would recommend just going with the normal protection. Yes, technically the damage reduction from it is not as high, but it works against everything. Only if you are in a situation where you know that you're only gonna take one specific type of damage and nothing else, then it might make sense to build a special armor set just with that type of protection on it, but in 99% of the cases, normal protection on every single armor piece is the best way to go. Up next, there are 2 enchantments that I want to talk about, and in my opinion, these are the most important that you really want to have on every single armor piece, and that would be first, Unbreaking, making it so that the durability of your armor doesn't go down as fast. In fact, if you have the maximum of Unbreaking 3 on every armor piece, your armor set is gonna last 4 times as long as it would initially do. And then Mending is, in my opinion, the best enchantment in the entire game of Minecraft. This one makes it that whenever you gain experience points, these XP are automatically gonna repair your armor without you having to do anything. Only a little problem with Mending is that you unfortunately can't get it from the enchantment table. This one is considered a treasure enchantment, and that means the only way to get it is to find an enchanted book with Mending on it out in the world. Or, and that is probably the most convenient way, you can trade it with a librarian villager. It is a bit of a hassle to come by, but if you want to have the perfect armor that will never ever break, then putting Mending on all pieces is a definite must. Just like maybe leaving a like for the video, because that would help me big time with the YouTube algorithm, especially for small channels like mine. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, now I want to talk about an enchantment that is a little bit interesting, and that would be Thorns. See, Thorns is also an enchantment that you can put on all 4 armor pieces, and what it does is, whenever an enemy damages you, they themselves will also take damage. However, there is a big problem with it, and that is that if you have Thorns on your armor, then every hit you take will reduce the armor durability much more than it would usually do. So if you don't want to constantly keep repairing, then only ever use Thorns on armor pieces that have Mending on them, and if you don't have it, then avoid it like the plague. Now, let's talk about enchantments that are exclusive to specific armor pieces, starting out with the Chestplate, which has absolutely none, right? There's no enchantment that is exclusive only to Chestplates, so we can move right on to the Helmet, where it gets much more interesting because this one has 2 of the most convenient enchantments in the game. On the one hand, we have Respiration, which allows you to breathe longer underwater. At base, you can stay underwater for 15 seconds before you start taking damage, but with the maximum respiration enchantment, you can extend your diving time to 1 full minute with another 10 seconds on top if you're wearing a turtle shell as a helmet. If you ask me, respiration is a really good enchantment and should be put on every helmet. And then the second helmet exclusive enchantment would be Aqua Affinity. This one allows you to mine blocks underwater faster. To be more precise, with Aqua Affinity, your mining underwater is exactly as fast as above ground. Up next, we would have your pants or leggings, which have one exclusive enchantment to them. That's called Swift Sneak, and what it makes is it increases your movement speed while you're sneaking, but what most players don't know is that doesn't only go for sneaking, it also goes for crawling. So if you are, let's say, crawl mining, something that has become more popular recently, then Swift Sneak is your best friend. Overall though, I would say it's nice to have, but it's definitely not as much of a must-have enchantment as the previous ones, which is good because this one too is a treasure enchantment, meaning you can't get it from the enchanting table. In fact, the only way to get Swift Sneak is to find enchanted Swift Sneak books, which only ever appear in Ancient City loot chests and nowhere else in the game. And then finally we have the boots, which come with a total of 4 exclusive enchantments. The first one would be Depth Strider. This one is very cool because it increases the speed at which you move through water, both for walking through water as well as your swimming speed underwater. In fact, if you have the maximum level of 3, your swimming speed is as fast as if you would be walking on land. However, the second enchantment, Frostwalker, is exclusive with Depth Strider, so you have to choose one of the two. You can't have both of them on your boots at the same time. Frostwalker makes it that you can effectively walk over water, it's just gonna turn to ice under you, which is cool for the memes, but then again, Frostwalker is a treasure enchantment too, so it's a bit harder to come by, meaning I wouldn't necessarily go for it. Next though, another must-have in the form of Feather Falling. This one has saved my life countless of times by reducing your fall damage. It's just super duper great and I would recommend it on every single armor set. And then the final enchantment is called Soul Speed. This one is also a treasure enchantment, most commonly acquired by bartering with piglins or to be found in Bastion Remnant chests. And what it does is, as the name suggests, while you're walking on soul sand, your movement speed is going to be increased, which is great when you're moving through the nether, but there is a big problem, and that would be that your boots are going to take durability damage whenever you walk over soul sand. So also here, just like with thorns, only ever do that if you have mending, otherwise all the repairs are just going to be much too bothersome. These would be all the available armor enchantments, so here is a summary of what the perfect armor would look like. First of all, on every armor piece, you're gonna have Protection 4 as well as Unbreaking 3. Then, ideally, you eventually want to have Mending on everything too, and then once you have that, you can also put Thorns 3 on everything. Before that though, don't do it, the durability damage is just not worth it. For the helmet, you definitely want to have Respiration, the underwater breathing is just so incredibly good, and if we're talking about the perfect armor set, then sure, throw on Aqua Affinity too, definitely can't hurt. On your pants, if you find an enchanted book with it, sure, go for Swift Sneak, but it's no big deal if you don't have it. And on your boots, you 100% want to have Feather Falling, the fall damage protection is invaluable. And then I would say Depth Strider over Frostwalker, the underwater speed is just much too convenient. Also here, Soul Speed is a decent option, but only if you have Mending, otherwise the durability damage just isn't worth it. But before you start building your perfect armor set now, you gotta check out my full enchanting guide here to avoid wasting tons of levels and materials by doing it wrong like most others. So see you next time, and as always, craft well.